Okay, so we're well into champion picks right now. Again, on the purple team, we have quite a AoE team comp. Cho'Gath Jungle is an interesting choice. It's relatively underplayed. It has very high potential, but can be difficult to pull off. Kayle nerfed pretty heavily, but it's still a very strong pick, especially a strong counter pick. That being said, though, they first picked it. I prefer Kayle as a counter pick. Let's say the enemy team was playing Zed or a
Any
Fizz.
melee comp would work.
Exactly. If they're going to pick a melee mid or a full-on assassin mid, Kayle is a very, very strong counter pick to that. Just saying I'm going to be playing Kayle and first picking it is a little bit ballsy, but again, I hope that is a Kayle player, not just someone saying, oh, we need an alt for our team. Similar idea, AoE team comp. They have a lot of assassination potential, especially if Pantheon gets the least bit amount of kills here. Wait a second. Are they running 80 carry Kayle? That's all I can figure out from that team comp.
I hope Pantheon's trolling. I really do.
No, I'm thinking that's top Pantheon and Kayle 80 carry. Uh, yeah. Okay, it could work. It's not considered the most viable of team comps, but when you consider that they have a Kayle and a Leona, that's a kill lane at that point. That's not so much a, okay, this is our AD carry and our support, we're going to farm for 20 minutes, sort of Season 2 meta. This is the, we're going to just kill you every time you show up in lane and snowball the game in our advantage. We'll see how that works, but yeah. It could be Pantheon, but I'm assuming Pantheon's mid. As far as the other team's concerned, someone in chat mentioned they don't have any real tank, and I agree that that's a weakness for them. Nunu can be a real tank, but he has no way to say hard CC someone and make sure they can't kill their carries. Snowball is a fantastic tool versus an AD carry, because it slows their attack speed similar to like a mini Nasus Wither, that sort of thing. But who's he going to snowball that's going to be that effective? Kayle, sure, fine.
Jax, maybe.
It would be effective versus Jax, but Jax usually has so many chase items on him that I feel it's not even going to be that much of a factor to him. Because you can't build enough AP on Jungle Nunu to make your snowballs and ults just like one-shot their team. That's not really viable, especially given their team comp. He's forced to go full tank Nunu in that role. And if he goes full tank Nunu, I just don't know if I see him having the full peel potential that their team requires. Zyra is going to be very, very good at zoning and at peeling if she lends all of her skills. But they don't have a standard full disengage, especially given that their entire team, okay, Leona going to jump on you, Jax going to jump on you, Pantheon going to jump at you, Kayle going to be invincible, slow you, and kite you to death, and Cho'Gath being able to just run up into the middle of your team with so much CC. I don't know. I just feel that purple team has a much better team comp here.
I don't feel like blue team have enough damage, at least.
They have enough damage, but it's very difficult for them to combine that damage. Purple team, I'm very confused as to who their AD carry is, and I'm interested to see how that works out for them. But from a team fighting perspective and how they scale into the mid and late game, I like the purple team comp a little bit better. It's just a little bit more focused. Purple team, on the other hand, they have a lot of poke damage. They're pretty much forced to just poke and kite, but they don't have anyone to disengage. Someone like a Janna would have been much, much better than a Zyra in this case, because if you're going for a poke team comp, you have an Ezreal, you have an Italy, you have a Kennen. You need someone to make sure they don't just dive on you and kill you. That's the counter to poke teams. So I would have gone for a very strong disengaged champion in that case, and I feel it would have suited them better. That being said, Zyra is a very effective zoner in lane and has some pretty good peel.
Ezreal's rune page worries me a bit.
What runes is he running?
21%, 21% attack speed, armor, and like 7 attack damage.
Okay. I've heard of people running heavy attack speed builds on like top tier AD carries, but Ezreal really doesn't care about attack speed. Which seems like a funny statement, but in laning phase, he's so reliant on his Q for any sort of trading and poking that it's just not that effective. I might understand if, let's say, you were running... Oh. Okay, my client will stop responding for a second. It's working now. I might understand if, let's say, you were running a Varus. You want to get as many stacks on them as possible, and you want to be able to stutter step very, very quickly, because attack speed does make your animation go quicker, meaning you can cancel it sooner and continue walking. So I could sort of understand it on an AD carry like a Varus, who's going to be able to proc his blights and do so much percentage health damage, or even like a Vayne, who's very attack speed reliant. But Ezreal, that seems like a very odd choice. It could be that that's his only rune page and he's still working on some stuff. I just don't agree with it from a standard build standpoint. They do have some pretty good AoE CC on blue team, though, if they can land a full Zyra ult with a Cannon ult and a Nunu ult. But I don't see purple team ever allowing that. They have so much CC to cancel it. They have so much CC and jumps to either murder them before those CC goes off, or Wait, I lost my train of thought. Or they're going to be able to jump out of them, because they have like a Jax, Pantheon, Leona. They all can usually get out of stuff.
Kale's running AP, by the way.
Okay. In that case, I still feel like it's going to be AP carry bot lane. I actually think they mentioned this in chat once to me. That they like running AP carry Kale bot lane.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't really have any comment on that either. We'll have to see how it goes. I just remember someone mentioning it in the Profanova chat room at one point that they like running that, and I feel like it may be this kill, because what else could it be? Nidalee accidentally bought a Sapphire Crystal and instantly refunded it.
Ezreal did not start a Doran's Blade. I'm surprised.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, Ezreal has gone for boots. That's such a subpar start on AD carries right now, especially given that he has no lifesteal runes from what you're describing.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to trade early game.
Exactly. And if he's ever chunked out by Leona, I just don't see him being able to win that fight.
Seconds until minions spawn.
That's weird. I can't see all chat, but I hear it ticking. According to my settings, it is on. Oh, boots is usually always bad.
Just saying, good luck, have fun.
I assume that's what they're saying. It's still just odd that I can't view all chat when the option is ticked to say that it's on.
Did you check your interface visibility?
I believe I did.
And did you push enter just to open up the chat, or?
Yeah, I push enter, nothing opens.
Check your interface visibility.
It is. It is on. It doesn't matter to me. Left click I at bottom. Oh, wait, I'm dumb. I was looking in actual options.
Clap, clap, clap.
Alright, so no team invaded, no team really did anything there. As we already mentioned, Boots start is not really good on any AD carries, but especially if you have no lifesteal, you need a way to sustain through that.
I'm curious about why Zyra didn't use Offer Gold to begin off. She had about 100 something gold left over when she exited the base.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's possible she misclicked or something in the shop. Because oftentimes I'll try and buy a potion and it won't let me buy it or something.
Maybe. But
That's all I can think of.
Nice early game aggression by Jax, taking advantage of the level 2.
Okay, now I have a new bug in that I can't click the map to zoom across. weird. This is going to be difficult for me to move across the map. Yeah, as you mentioned, they didn't use all their gold on the Zyra. They're also getting zoned pretty heavily. From what little I was able to see of this lane, Kayle seems to be bullying them really well. I would like to see the Kayle and Leona combining into some more hard engage aggression, especially if they hit level 2 first. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see that. Now, Nunu is coming around. He needs to move in position. As soon as he starts to move in position, Zyra needs to land a binding. That would be a perfect kill opportunity for them.
This Jax went ham on Kennen. He's taking his level advantage
Just
taking advantage of his level very well.
Oh, now it works for some reason. Whatever, everything's fixed.
This Nunu's wasting time, but
Exactly. As I said, he needs to walk in, and Zyra needs to land a binding. It also seems like they didn't have very good communication there, because he finally gave up waiting, and Zyra and Ezreal didn't react. They needed to communicate that better. If he was going to go in, he needed to do it right when he got there. Even if he didn't go in right when he got there, they needed to go as a team. Nunu alone, he's not going to be able to do anything. That teamfight looked to be a little bit split up. They caught out Zyra to a slight extent, and they were just sort of hovering around that bush. Then Leona walked in without her team. I don't know, it just seemed a little bit split up to me. Neither team really came out too far ahead. Leona did take a lot of damage, and Kayle's reasonably low as well, but it just seems like they're not team fighting that well together. We'll see if that translates into the mid and late game. So now Nunu's doing the exact same thing mid lane. For your reference, Nidalee has essentially 0 kill potential early game. She needs level 6 for reliable damage output. And so what's he going to do here? Nidalee's pushing towards his tower, and Nunu just sits in the bush there. Go farm jungle, and you'll be so much further ahead. Cho'Gath's coming in here now. That was nowhere near going to hit. I would wait to see where they're moving and then use your Rupture. Kennen's actually poking quite a lot of damage back onto Jax here. Jax did hit level 6 first, but that ult is not... It's a lot of hit... Yeah, it makes you tanky. It's not that much kill potential as it is escapes or team fight. It's not like a Kennen ult where you just walk in and get a free kill. Kennen's managing this lane quite well. He's poking effectively, and yeah, I like what he's doing here. Obviously, he is behind Jax, as you mentioned. Jax using his level advantage in his early aggression. And because of that, Jax is still up 10 CS and a kill.
Nunu's doing the same thing top.
Yeah, Nunu's just standing here. There's nothing for him.
I'll be using this time to farm or something.
Well, if you don't have an easy kill opportunity, just farm jungle. He's just wandering around at this point.
He's a level behind Cho'Gath.
And that shouldn't happen. Nunu's counter jungle is incredibly effective. Just walk into their jungle, smite consume, boom, you got their large golem. Walk away. Then go clear your own jungle, and keep repeating that. So you starve the enemy jungler of a little bit of gold, and you get a significant level and CS advantage. Jax seems to have gone in on Kennen here, got quite a lot of damage onto him. That being said, though, I think that Kennen's going to be able to poke back effectively here, and it's not going to be the end of the world. That being said, he didn't return damage. He let Jax jump to him and got a kill. Or not a kill, he got a lot of damage onto him. If Kennen managed that trade better, I think he would have gone completely even in that trade. Good. That time it was a good Nunu gank. Kennen needs to run.
Oh,
he's gonna die.
Kennen stayed.
Yeah, there's no reason for Kennen to stay there. What needed to happen is Nunu needed to walk into the bush to provide vision. Kennen needed to stay, but well out of range. Then when Nunu landed an Ice Ball, use a max range Shuriken, and you would have been able to get the kill for yourself, and would have been completely safe. Nidalee, now
Really?
that she's level 6, is going to be able to bully Pantheon. Pantheon's early game aggression is very, very powerful, but it is going to start to fall off a little bit now. He hasn't
Think-
built any damage items, and Nidalee is 6.
I think Zyra and Ezreal's miscommunicating somewhat because Zyra took Ezreal's double golems.
Okay. It could be that they were trying to get health back onto Zyra, but that doesn't seem to be the case, seeing as they've gone back to base.
Leona's got no wards.
Ezreal's not CSing very well under turret. That would be something that I would strongly suggest you learn as any laner. You need to be able to identify what the turret's going to target and how much damage it's going to take. Now, a little bit of that is going to change in Season 4. They're standardizing the damage a little bit, so it's easier to last hit under turret. But that being said, I think that he needs to practice that just a little bit. Because he gave up, I think, about 4 CS in a row under that turret.
Cho'Gath is maxing Q first. I do not agree with that very well.
Nor do I. I would max silence first.
I would max E first for faster jungle clears.
In general, though, he has so much AoE damage that the jungle does clear very quickly regardless. W increases the silence duration by a large amount and does a lot of damage. It's your reliable ganking tool. You need to walk in, silence them, and then land your Rupture. Just simply using a Rupture, pretty much any champion is able to just walk out of that.
Right. But, so,
Jax looks to be getting a free top turret. He might not actually kill the turret before Kennen gets back, but he's going to get a massive amount of damage on it.
Kennen's rushing Donius. Well, I believe
is the
Donius
correct
is a
choice.
great item. I would think getting sustain lane would be more useful to begin off.
Kennen already has sustain in the form of his Doran's Blade. He needs that arm guard for the efficient armor to be able to survive some of Jax's burst. I feel his main misplay here is that he's not trading damage effectively. Jax is jumping on him, he's auto-attacking once and running away. Kennen needs to be trading damage. Like, I don't know, I think in a lot of these situations he might not necessarily get a kill, but he could be far less behind. Q, you missed the Q there, that would have been a free kill. Now you're walking in range and he could jump to you and kill you. I just feel there's some minor issues with how you're trading damage on Kennen, and they're costing you in this lane. Back top lane, Leona would manage to get a kill. I think that again boils down to, as you mentioned, how Zyra and Ezreal are communicating. Every time I've looked at bot lane, they don't seem to have that good of synergy. They're just not cooperating as well as I feel they should. Ezreal is now staying in a very high kill potential lane while alone. Leona's playing very aggressively. She didn't need to flash there. She was alive. I feel this is just really risky, Ezreal staying alone versus a very high kill potential lane like this, where Kill has ult. She has Ghost, and she has Flash. You also have a Leona, so if you ever get caught out, you're going to be essentially dead. There's very little ways for you to come back from that.
But to be fair, Ezreal does have a great escape, and he has his barrier up there now.
He does. It just seems a little odd to stay in that lane when he was already zoned from experience in CS. He wasn't getting CS. He was simply just staying. And if you're not getting some sort of advantage, you need to get it elsewhere, whether that's taking doubles or simply going back to base and buying so you have some items. I apologize. I forgot to line up the champions. I'll do that now. Oh, I don't quite line these up properly. So Nidalee's building a very heavy CS advantage over this Pantheon. She's close to around 30 CS, 40 CS advantage right now. Neither of them have a kill in lane, but that Nidalee is going to scale better than Pantheon. Pantheon will be good at cleanup, but as far as raw damage output and utility, Nidalee will outscale him. So the fact that Nidalee is already pulling ahead is a very good sign for her and a bad sign for Pantheon. He needs to be making some sort of plays. He needs to be getting an advantage. Jax is going to run into Nunu here. And again, Nunu just seems to not do anything. He is caught up in levels a little bit. Not quite all the way, but he's got some levels.
That was a really late ulti by Jax.
Yeah. So a couple things went wrong there. Jax was caught out by Nunu. As I mentioned, Nunu wasn't doing anything. He was completely alone during the initial engage. He then just snowballed him, auto-attacked him, and walked away. Their team then collapsed, managed to pick up a kill out of it, but I feel if he wants to do that fight, he needs to engage a little bit harder and or communicate to his team what's happening so that they can show up earlier. Jax should have been able to get out of that, as you mentioned, with his ult, with his other skills. I don't know. I don't think that was a very good play by either Nunu or Jax on both sides. As far as I see in chat, you guys are talking about like going back and reviewing plays. I probably will work on being able to do that a bit. I'm not overly comfortable using spectate mode yet, so it's going to be something that'll come in time. I am hoping to do these every week. Oh, my voice is starting to go a little bit. Alright, blue buff's up. They're giving that over to Nidalee, it looks like. As they should. I'm interested in the fact that no one is particularly setting up for dragons. Ezreal right now has no mana, so if they do land an engage, he's not going to be able to arcane shift away. As purple team, I would be keeping an eye on things like that, so that you can force plays. Bottom lane has very good ward coverage right now. They know that they're not going to be ganked or not ganked very easily, so I would suggest they start playing aggressively. I would actually suggest Leona turret dive, Kayle ult, and then just clean up this Ezreal, because he has no real way to escape besides his flash, which is still on like a 30-40 second cooldown.
Nidalee's alive somehow.
I'm going to jump back here. So in mid lane,
Dash
she's
is coming.
Okay, I'm actually just rewound for a moment. Nidalee here is staying with reasonably low health. Obviously, Nidalee has good sustain, but Pantheon is doing a good job of zoning her out. The fact that he didn't get that kill is, I believe, him not interspersing auto attacks between his skills. If he did, he would have got that extra auto attack and I think gotten the kill. Great pickup there by Jax. It's actually interesting. The blue buff was taken by Nidalee, and then Jax killed right after, so he got essentially a 2-for-1.
It wouldn't have mattered. He killed Nunu in lane. If early phage allowed him to chase.
Exactly, yes. I just actually got to that point. Perfect. I'm just going to fast forward back up to where we are. Back bot lane, it seems like Zyra is now making the same mistake Ezreal did earlier. She's staying alone versus a very strong dive composition. From what I see here, Kayle still has her ult, and Leona has her ult. That's a lot of CC. Honestly, I feel that Leona should just walk in, ult Zyra, then E to her, and follow up with a Q as soon as stuns end. That would be enough time for Kayle to get this kill, and it looks like they're about to do that. Perfect job. Ezreal managed to pick up that kill, and it looks like, yeah, Kayle got that. Perfect. I feel, again, that was a little bit of a misplay. Leona tanked an unnecessary tower shot, and Kayle did not ult her during the damage she was taking. Leona's a fantastic tank, but Kayle ult is such low cooldown that it's always worth it if you're about to take a lot of damage on your team. Good job by Nidalee to ward that. Kennen hit a shuriken, so you knew that there was someone in there. Great job getting some vision back.
If I was just Pantheon right now, I would ult to another lane to snowball. He's getting denied by Nidalee pretty hard. Yes.
My concern is that he has no reliable wave clear. Obviously, he has his heart. Is it Heartseeker Strike that's multiple strikes? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Heartseeker Strike would be able to clear minion waves, but it does have a reasonably long cooldown. And he needs it for the actual gank that he pulls off. So he would have to use it on the entire mid lane wave after it's arrived, then land that gank after the cooldowns come back up. That wouldn't be impossible for him to do, but if he ever stops to use that and it's not directly on Nidalee, Nidalee's going to return so much damage onto him that I think he's going to then be too low to pull off the gank. I just feel he'd give up a lot trying to leave this lane right now. Nidalee pushes so very hard. As far as CS, Kayle is pulling ahead quite heavily. She is now 30 CS ahead of Ezreal and has 2 kills under her belt and an assist. She's actually gone for Nashor's Tooth as a first item. I really like that because it's increasing your auto attack damage as well as the cooldowns.
That was a really nice dive by Kennen, but I think he wasted too much for Pantheon.
I'm going to actually rewind and watch that here.
He slashed over the wall and ulted.
That was a, yeah, very nice engage by him. I don't know if I would consider that too much though. Any kill is worth it. They're behind right now as blue team. All of those kills are going to Jax. So Kennen needs a way to get back into that lane, or essentially just scale up for late game. So even though, I don't believe he got the kill, I believe Nidalee did, I could be wrong on that. But getting that kill, even if you have to blow the flash, I feel is worth it, because now he's just going straight back top lane and farming. Jax is mid. I feel that, yes, he did give up a lot for that kill, but I feel it was still probably worth it. They just need to keep in mind that those cooldowns are used, and play a little bit more passively for the next few minutes. Nunu's coming in bot lane here, and again, it's not going to do anything. Like, they're not pushed into your turret. The only time Nunu can really pull off a gank is if they're sitting inside your turret. Then you just walk through a river, get a slow on them, and pick up a kill. Top lane Cho'Gath is going in here, and Pantheon is coming. Yeah, they should be able to pick this up easily. Great job on their part. I wish that Cho'Gath would have been able to keep in place a little bit longer for the Pantheon to be able to ult, but Jax was already on his way, so it doesn't make any difference. Either way, they got the free kill.
Purple team's turret has been destroyed.
At this point, I want them to try and take a dragon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did Pantheon start off with Crystalline Flask, or was that a later purchase?
You always start Crystalline Flask as first item on Pantheon. The reason being is that he's very mana hungry. Nice job by Kayle there. She has so much burst damage that she simply ulted herself and got a free kill onto Ezreal. She actually also lived throughout that, so that's a very good job on her part. I wish, though, that Leona would have been able to survive. I think she could have then CC'd the rest of them under turret and pulled out a little bit more out of that. But either way,
you got Merc Treads, and I'm really curious why, since he already has Ancient Golem.
You're correct. That is a very poor build on his part. Very nice gank bottom lane by Jax, though. He's applying a lot of map pressure. He is snowballing heavily, and he's taking that pressure elsewhere. And that's what you need to do. If you have an advantage, you need to translate that advantage into kills for your team, objectives for your team, towers, anything you can to try and snowball the game and accelerate your team to victory. As you mentioned, Nunu has double tenacity items. They do not stack, so those are completely wasted stats on him. I'd be going either Boots 5, or if he really wants and doesn't want to do like a Ninja Tabi or something like that, then he could go Source Boots if he really wants to do some sort of damage mid-game. Purple team is now heading over to Dragon. Snowballing means getting an advantage, and like building a snowman, you roll it, it keeps picking up more and more momentum and gives you a bigger and bigger advantage. Snowballing just means you get an advantage and you build it so that it becomes bigger. Yeah, snowball rolling down a hill. I'm interested to see if they try and dive here. They should. Okay. Awesome job. Perfect job between Pantheon and Jax. Nidalee needed to react to that. Nidalee was so far up, you can see Pantheon ult well in advance when it drops, and she just seemed to stay there. I'm not sure why. Maybe she was lagging, maybe she just didn't quite see it. Good job by not losing that dragon. That being said, oh, never mind, you have it pinked. Good job. This Cho'Gath is missing a lot of ruptures. You need to be able to lead, and I would also suggest always silence them first. Again, that's more of a skill shot issue, so you'll get it with practice. But personally, I would be leading with my silence so that they can't like arcane shift or flash away, and then land it as they run away. Alright, Nunu has come down here. He's completely overextended. They need to just kill him. Like, they have 4 here. Why are...
Our Shovel Jax just diving.
It was a nice job by Jax, but his team should have responded quicker. Jax is already there. It's 4v3, and Amumu, for all intensive, sorry, not Amumu, Nunu, for all intensive purposes, was alone. He was so far out by himself. They needed to collapse and fight that. Instead, the three of them seemed to run away from Nunu and wait on Jax to dive alone. If they went as four, that would have been a slightly cleaner fight. It still went in their advantage, but it could have been executed slightly better. At this point, Pantheon has wasted his jump to get in range, and Kennen is now there and should be able to clean up. I don't like them not chasing. That was a free kill. Kennen just needed to stay in range for one more shuriken, and he would have had the stun on him. Nidalee had so much damage that she could have put out there, and I feel that was a misplay not chasing that Jax, or not chasing that Pantheon.
Zyra isn't warding enough. Other than that single bush, the single ward in the tri-bush, nothing else to ward the
Purple
side.
team is completely dominating with wards right now. Yes, they have 3 pink wards down. They have, I believe, two or three more green wards. They have great map coverage bot lane, and they need to respond to this Zyra, whether it's with an Oracles or with pink wards of her own. Honestly, with this much gold investment, I feel like they should be starting to work towards an Oracles. It is 24 minutes into the game. Pantheon lands onto Zyra. Leona lands a fantastic Zenith Blade and gets a free kill there. That being said, Leona had an ult there. She never used it. As soon as she Zenith Bladed and the two of them were grouped together, she should have ulted and swapped to Nidalee. Kept Nidalee in range and they would have got a second kill. Ezreal's trying to take out this tower, but Pantheon's coming into ult. Never, ever back in full vision of them. That's a completely free kill for Pantheon that you did not need to give up.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
He just ulted in the middle of the lane in full vision of their tower, knowing that they have a semi-global. And you have no ward coverage, so yeah, no, never do that. Purple team is so far ahead at this point. We mentioned in selection that they have a much better team comp if they get ahead, and they've managed to do that. So I think at this point, it's Purple Game's game to lose.
Unstoppable.
Oh, I missed that. 1 second. I was yawning. I'm gonna rewind even more actually. So Purple team has nice ward coverage on top side of the map now as well. Nunu is in jungle alone, just clearing out his camps. Jax seems to know exactly where he is, so good for him with map awareness there. Lands stun in on. Good job there. And then, oh, he actually swaps over to Nidalee, who uses a cleanse. I don't know why Nidalee cleansed there. There's no reason to. Oh, Ezreal almost picking up both of them. Nidalee manages to get the Jax. So that's a really good shutdown for her. That's going to be a very, very strong advantage. Now that she has double buffs, they need to try and turn this into something. Well, that monster of a Jax is down. Pantheon bot lane. He's pushed in. No real kill potential for either team. I was sort of hoping that they'd collapse on it. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit, get us back up to real time.
That bottling kill though.
Just
Alright, we've got a Pantheon ult coming bot, catch out Zyra. Again, the blue team just isn't reacting to the global presence that Pantheon's providing. And of course Jax, because Jax is roaming just as much as Pantheon at this point. They have so much pressure that they just need to shut out the game now as Purple team.
This cannon went the wrong way. The jungle.
Yeah, Kennen's now just sitting in river. What's he gonna do? His team isn't capable of fighting them at this point, and he's just sitting there waiting for a fight to happen. Jax is now just gonna walk in behind them, pick up a free kill on Kennen. Perfect. Yeah, that was very strong mispositioning by the Kennen. I slightly disagree with the early Blade of the Ring King on Jax, but again, it works out. It's not an issue. They're just gonna, yeah, clean up everything. They have so much dive potential on this team that it's ridiculous.
Jax at this point is at least a full 3k gold above anyone else.
They just all seem to be wanting to try and fight, and they're not in a position to do that on blue team. Nidalee had vision. She knew they were in there. Why go in as Nidalee? Like, there's 4 people, you know that. I just feel they're being too aggressive for the position they're in this game. They need to find a way to get back into the game, and that is not walking into 4 people alone.
Just checking. Can you hear the wind tunnel, or is it just me?
Sorry, hear the what?
The wind tunnel.
A little bit.
Dara's getting caught out.
Yeah, this Zyra's been caught out quite a few times, and it seems to be in her goal being to regain some map control, but she really doesn't have that many wards. She has actually gone for Chalice, which I'm fine with on certain supports, but I think there are better options here. Her team's just absolutely getting destroyed in all of these fights. She needs to find a way to make these fights doable, and a little bit of extra mana is not going to do that for you.
They need to group. Ezreal's just split pushing from the bottom.
Yeah, they're trying to engage in fights that they have no hope of winning. Honestly, there's no point for them to group because they're not actually going to be... Oh, Ezreal, no. Ezreal walked back into Jax. I think he could have escaped there if he positioned slightly better, but then he walked back into the Jax stun. But yes, blue team cannot fight purple at this point. They do not want to... Oh, that's surprising that Nidalee got that. That being said, blue team cannot fight purple team as like a team fight is concerned, so why bother? They need to be able to pull out some split pushers. They need to farm their jungle. They need to do anything they can to get back into this game. And honestly, right now, it boils down to gold advantage. They're about 10,000 gold behind. They're about to lose another dragon, and yeah, they just need to find a way to get that gold advantage back. No, you can cancel Nunu's ult early. That's his entire point. That's a very, very good point you bring up. Nunu did not cancel his ult to hit anyone, so they just walked out of it. Unless they changed that in a recent patch, and there'd be no reason to, because that's how Nunu is played, you need to be able to cancel your ult early.
The ult canceling actually got buffed quite a few times. The base damage.
Okay.
So,
someone was saying that like you just can't do it anymore, and that's completely inaccurate. You can cancel it at any time. Cho'Gath
early
is so big.
Nunu isn't sharing the He's not really a mana hungry champion.
Yeah, no, there's no reason for Nunu to take blue buff after the first one. And Nidalee, well, she's not technically mana hungry. The cooldown reduction and increased mana regen it gives are very valuable on her, regardless. Especially more than
on Pantheon.
Sorry?
Blue team collapsing on Pantheon.
They are, yes. I'm interested to see how that goes. They should just be able to pick up a free kill here. I would have hoped that purple team would have reacted a little faster. It was very obvious what blue team was doing, but it's a pick for them. Good job in noticing it and collapsing properly. That being said, they should be able to kill this not Pantheon. They should be able to kill this Cho'Gath. They're not. Jax is all the way top. You have vision of him. Kayle has already run. They should have kept chasing the Cho'Gath, I felt.
They're getting on the Cho'Gath.
At this point, they're collapsing on Jax. Oh, that's actually really interesting. They cancelled his back by queuing a minion. Ezreal needs to be stutter stepping, but great job. They should be able to pick that up.
I'm quite impressed by the vision provided by Zyra.
Yeah, I was mentioning earlier that blue team needs to make fights for themselves, and to do that they need vision and they need to be farming properly. And they've definitely done that. There's pink wards everywhere for blue team. They're all in good places, and they're reacting to the vision they're getting. Vision is only useful if you use it. Zyra is going to get cut out here. She's not with her team. Why is she trying to cut off a Cho'Gath? It's difficult to cancel if you're stunned, but if you're stunned... sorry, rooted. Rooted is the only one that would make a difference. If you're stunned, silenced, anything like that, it automatically detonates. If you're snared, you can't walk to cancel it. They could have Baroned, yes. Jax was down. They have it pink warded. They should have Baroned. I understand why they didn't, because it is a risky play, but I think they could have snuck that Baron with Nunu's Consume.
They need something game-changing at this point.
Yeah, they
Or-
need something like a Baron. Although those picks have done wonders to keep them back, keep them in the game, they haven't lost any of their gold advantage. Or gold hasn't slipped further against them, but they haven't really come back from it. That being said, gold disadvantage matters less and less as we progress through the game. As people approach their final builds, it doesn't really matter if you're 5,000 gold down. Well, you're full build. But that's going to be a while. They'd have to stall the game for another 20 minutes. Good spear on Nidalee there. Blue team's just going to go clear their jungle. Looks like Jax is just going to split push top. I like that Nidalee just went and rewarded Baron because her wards had expired. At this, Nunu took red too. Nunu's playing incredibly greedy as a jungler. He's not giving away any buffs, and he's also not making any plays. So I would suggest to him, trust your team. Donate a blue buff to who it's going to be best on. Donate a red buff to who it's going to be best on. Looks like blue team just got a dragon. Good for them. That's not going to make a big difference in the long term, but in the short term, good. That brings your gold back a little, but not much. Kel is going back. I would hope they're going to chase this in. Yeah, Cho'Gath is completely out of mana. I want them to try and pull out a fight here. They only have about 5 seconds to do so, and it looks like, yeah, they're not chasing. The reason I wanted them to do a fight, Cho'Gath has 0 mana and is half health. Kayle has gone back to base. So yes, Jax is a monster, but 5v3 essentially, yeah, you could do that. Someone in chat mentioned purple team just needs to group. Yes, if purple team groups and pulls out a team fight, they've essentially won the game because they'll get a Baron off that. They'll get 2, maybe even 3 turrets off of that Baron.
Did someone get a rune?
Sorry?
Kayle got a rune and
Oh. I always make fun of people who buy it. I can't comment on it, how good it is on Kayle, but I think it's probably not worth it.
well, she's got a death cap, so she's got a lot of damage to back up that rune ant.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why you get a rune ant when your E already gives you AoE damage.
It doubles the AoE. But that's just it. The AoE is so small that it's not going to make an issue. It's not going to be an issue for the enemy team. I would much prefer she get Hourglass, because she is the carry. She is the AD carry right now. She needs to be able to survive in a team fight. So she has her ult, and then you still have your Hourglass. It's going to give you defensive stats from armor. It's going to give you defensive stats from the active, and it's going to give you a ton of AP. Death cap actually isn't worth it until you have something like 300 or 400 AP, and she's just not there, not quite. Oh, good engage here. Purple team has finally done what we're saying here. They need to engage. They need to pull out these fights. And nice Hourglass by Kennen. It's not going to make a large difference. Good job on purple team to pull that through.
I feel like that was such a dirty fight.
It was. I'm actually going to review a couple things here. I'm actually going to slow it down so we can see exactly what happened.
Jax stopped pushing with Leona, even though Leona's taking.
Just give me one moment. I'm just going to review the fight here. So Kayle landed a significant amount of damage on him. As you can see, that the Hurricane's doing a little bit of splash damage, but it's not the end of the world for the enemy team. But she's getting so much free damage here because she's just chasing in and auto-attacking. At that point, Zyra ult, Jax, free fight. At this point, though, they're just getting AoE ulted in return. I would suggest after those first few kills, separate just a little bit your group too tightly. You do manage to clean up the fight, though. It was fine. I just feel it could have been executed a little better. Notice, Kayle used her ult at the very end of the fight because, oh my god, I'm low health. You use Kayle ult to block initial burst damage. As soon as they saw that giant AoE coming, I would have used that ult on probably Jax. Or maybe Pantheon, because Pantheon took the most damage. I just feel that would have been a better option. At this point, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. They're pushing in 3 mid. They should be able to get this tower. I want them to swap to Baron, though. Yeah, they're not taking Baron, even though it's ace. They should be able to get Inhibitor.
Blue side is looking at a Baron right now.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till I'm caught up to that. So they did get an inhibitor. They still have time to Baron. And instead they just split off. They're pinging Baron, but they're not doing it. I'm perfectly okay with the fact that they did inhibitor instead. Either one is a valid option. That being said, though, I wish they would work Baron into their plans, because now they're all going back, and blue team could have done Baron there. At this point, blue team is pretty much the only one with consistent vision on the map. I like that, seeing as they are behind, they need to keep that vision up. They need to do this Baron. Like, I don't know why they're not taking it.
They caught Leo. That was a great catch by on Leona, but they're still not doing Baron. They have one person down. They have massive CC down on the other team, and yet they're not doing Baron.
Yeah, at this point on my version of it, Kel showed herself mid. That's, again, to the Baron. As soon as you see you have an advantage, go to it. Even if you don't take the Baron, you force them to fight you, and that's what purple team needs to do. They need to force a fight, use their AoE comp, and clean up.
They're,
Kale's getting a lot of free split push from this, so
right.
lovely. But again, Kale's bot. Either collapse on the Kale and get a free kill, or do Baron. Those are your options, and they've done neither.
They're playing rather scared for 3v5 at Baron.
Kale now has red buff. That's actually fantastic for her, because she has so many slows now. Leona's trying to solo Baron. No one's
What?
there. Well, she just took
And
half her health for no reason.
And she has no pinks or any sort of vision to
No, she has a
check.
pink. She has a pink on it, doesn't she? Oh,
No,
never mind.
that's
That's blue team.
She
Yeah.
should know by now that they were just at Baron. They would definitely have vision on this.
Completely agree. If you don't have a pink ward, don't do Baron. The whole point is to bait them in, to force them to check it, and then you turn on them and fight. I'm not sure if they're gonna get this or not. Okay, in the meantime, Kale the dragon.
And Ezreal's gonna get caught
Yeah.
up.
Ezreal's completely caught out. Free kill for Kale. I still feel purple team needs to just hard engage here. Kale needs to work her way up, and as soon as they arrive, they need to essentially collapse, kill blue team. End the game. Boom. Done.
I think Kale's trying to force them to go back.
Kale can keep split pushing, because if they go to stop Kale, they get a free Baron. They're just not doing it. Yeah, now Kale's going back. Just split
Pantheon's
push.
going back. Why?
They're all going back. This makes no sense. And now Jax goes in while they're all trying to back. They need to work on their communication. Like, every complaint I have about this game right now is they're not communicating, they're not pushing their advantage, they're not forcing things. And that's one of the biggest problems in solo queue. Kale went back, she could have got that turret. Jax decided to engage. Yeah, Ezreal died at one point, but they're not getting anything from this. Leon is dead.
Cho'Gath's getting caught out.
At this point, blue team could Baron. Honestly, Leon is dead. Blue team has vision of it. They know it's not warded. I think they could. That being said, Ezreal's bottom. Again, I don't understand why he's still bottom. Ezreal's not good at dealing with split pushes. He needs to be with her team. I would suggest Nidalee...
They're dueling Baron right now.
Yeah,
I think they can get it.
They have the potential to do it, but they're going to lose so much health from this that when purple team collapses, which they're doing right now, they should be able to kill them all. Yep. Free fight for purple team.
Triple kill.
And now
And
that
that's
Baron goes
free
over to
Baron.
purple team. So purple team needs to rush mid right now and take out the inhibitor. There's 3 enemies dead. Nidalee has to go back. Yeah, take a blue buff on the way if you want, but Kale needs to
Ezreal's
rush
still
right
slow,
to
Jay.
Baron.
Ezreal's still farming.
Yeah, I don't know what this Ezreal's doing. He needs to be aware of what's happening on the map.
Blue team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
I feel like they're not building enough magic with this. They have a fed Kale for the team. And Jax also does magic damage to some extent.
The issue with that is that everyone on the blue team, as we mentioned during selection, they're all damage based. They don't really have a tank. It's only Nunu. He did build Locket, which gives a magic resist aura, so that's lovely. But I feel like he needed to work towards a Banshee's Veil. It would have kept him from having his ult cancelled as easily, and it would have provided a lot of magic resist and a little bit of sustain. So I'm going to do a final review of items here, and just some overall impressions. Nidalee, her build's fine. You always build Seraph's Embrace. It's good that she built Hourglass. I'm fine with Morellonomicon. Good for that. Good for her doing that. That being said, I don't see Cleanse as having been a good summoner choice for her. I would have suggested Barrier if you wanted a defensive spell. Ezreal went Bloodthirster Trinity Force Last Whisper. That's very standard. That's fine. His issues were mostly just not keeping with his team. If you need to split push, that's all well and good. Go for it. But you need to be aware of what's going on the map and react accordingly. Zyra, nothing wrong with her build particularly. I mentioned early game though that I didn't like her rushing Chalice of Harmony, mostly because I wanted her to have some sort of aggressive potential, whether that was cooldown boots first or whether that was finishing Shurelya's for collapse potential. I don't know what would have been the right choice there. I just feel that was slightly overrated. She also had some issues with getting caught out throughout the game. I mentioned them when I saw them. I would suggest go back and look through some of the videos once they're uploaded. Kennen, this is very standard build for him. Ignite properly done. He did fall very far behind. Oh my god, kill so much farm. My main issues with him were how he was trading damage with the Jax. Jax was getting his burst onto him, and Kayle wasn't returning damage Kennen wasn't returning damage effectively. I apologize, I must be getting tired here. If he was returning damage effectively, he wouldn't have fallen as far behind in that lane, and would have been far, far better. Nunu, I had a lot of complaints about his gameplay there. As we mentioned near the end, he didn't have much magic resist. I would have suggested a Banshee's Veil. It would have stopped them from cancelling his ult as easily. It would have given him a lot of magic resist, a lot of sustain. He was working towards a Randuin's, and I don't think Randuin's would have been the right choice versus this team comp, but I understand why he built this way. It's fine. He needs to work on how he's ganking, how he's setting up these fights, and a little bit better communication across the board for both teams. Leona, Sunfire Cape is a very aggressive item, perfectly fine, but there are better choices.
For Locket.
Yeah, you could have gone Locket. You could have gone Randuin's if you're going to put that much gold into an item. You could have gone Shurelya's if you want to collapse. Sunfire Cape is a fine item on Leona. It scales very, very well with her. I just feel there were possibly better uses of that much gold. That's a lot of gold for a support to be building on a single item. That's very aggressive based and doesn't provide any real utility. Kayle, we mentioned earlier that she played quite well in that lane. She needed to work on her communication with Leona. She had so many opportunities for free kills. Her build is very scattered. I don't really play bot lane Kayle though, so I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. That being said, she has incredible amount of farm. She did very well in team fights, positioned reasonably well. No real complaints. She did quite well. I made a couple comments throughout the game, though. I suggest you look back at them. Cho'Gath, his build is quite good. I would suggest that he work on his skill order a little bit. We commented on the fact that he was leveling Q. Leveling Q doesn't really provide that much for your ganks. I would have suggested leveling W. Arctic here suggested leveling E for jungle clear. I also would have suggested work on aiming those skills a little bit better, but again, that's experience with the champion.
I would suggest Mobies, because
yes,
you already have 30% cooldown reduction from Visage and Golem.
Completely true. I actually didn't notice that he built Lucidity. He should always, always, always boots 5 on Cho'Gath. You have to get in range to land your Rupture, land your Silence. Jax, his build is pretty standard here. It's a very aggressive base build. If I were him, I would have suggested a Guardian Angel instead of so many offensive items. But again, he's snowballed. He's very, very fed, so not an issue. Generally, though, if you are that far ahead, Guardian Angel will ensure you maintain that advantage, especially on someone like Jax who duels so very well. If he's half health, it doesn't really matter. He's going to lifesteal most of that back. Pantheon...
I would suggest tank here.
He was playing mid lane Pantheon, so he's playing as an assassin. So I'm okay with his build. I would have suggested a Hydra, though. He needs the sustain. he was getting a little bit zoned by Nidalee. He was losing a lot of farm. If he had an early little bit of lifesteal in combination with his Hex Drinker, he would have been able to survive a lot better in that lane.
Never got any life steal.
Yeah, that's just it. If he had Hydra, he would have had better wave clear. He would have had better lifesteal sustain. I just think it would have been a little bit better. Overall, Purple team, we mentioned in selection, if they pull off that team comp, it's going to work better. I would have suggested Blue team have a little bit beefier champions. It was mostly just a pick issue and a little bit of pressure issue. They weren't able to play the map quite as well. I do like what they did mid-game, though, with the wards getting back into it, making opportunities for themselves. So good job making those opportunities, even though you're behind, noticing opportunities and getting advantages out of them. Even if they didn't win you the game, those are things you need to look for every game. On that note, I do have to